Hello, and welcome to today's episode of My Mum Said I Could Watch It. It's a weird one today. I've just got the full moon stream. You may hear some of it behind you. I understand that if you show a bit of a video, that helps with the ambience and algorithm. I've got no idea, but I figured it'd just help a bit over the next 10 minutes. The film I've chosen today is Trancers, 1985. Say sci-fi fusion. I'm not going to mash up. This is before that exists. Of Terminator 2. I know, right? It's ahead of its time for Terminator 2. Really, actually, Terminator and Blade Runner in terms of sensibilities. As you can hear, the jazz sax synth setting has been put to high max on a Yamaha DX7. Following ostensibly the story of Jack Death, a Trancer hunter, as he tries to find Whistler, a cult man who creates Trancers. Trancers themselves, kind of steroid super soldiers, kind of zombies, never really clear on what, just people who've been mesmered by a cult leader. Hence Whistler. Jack is able to travel back to the modernist times of 1985 LA, and with the help of his great-great-granddad's one-night stand, try and track down Whistler and the other people who would have been destroyed should Whistler be able to kill the double future. It's the old story of being your own granddad. What can I say? It's an Empire film. It's a Charles Band film. It's really good. My memory of it was quite limited. 1985, I'd have been 9. I reckon I would have rented this. This is a proper corner shop rental for me. Big blue box, entertainment and video. So probably involving taking in about 4 or 5 R. White's lemonade bottles towards the lentils, towards the rentals itself. It's 77 minutes, and I know that I seem to go on about runtimes a lot, but what really gets me about genre films of that time is that it's 77 minutes, and it's packed. It's got no real lulls. It manages to, in one film, set up a time travel situation. It's the shades of Terminator 2. Is able to bring in a believable love interest, and is able to bring in action set pieces that give a certain sense of spectacle and danger on a low street level society. It's able to do it in one film. It's not even taking 88 minutes, and it does have good acting. Tim Thomerson is able to pull off Jack Death, I think, because in terms of his own career, he did initially start as a stand-up. From what little I've seen of his stand-up, he was an angry young man, Dice Clay era, very typical macho of the time. But that requires earnestness. That kind of stand-up, the funny comes from being serious, and he is able to do that with the Jack Death character. Helen Hunt plays Lena, his other half, romantic interest. The word on the street, and I gotta say, as a character built in 1985, is really strong. She wants to ditch Phil, who's the guy she initially met before Jack, very early, very confident of herself, makes sensible decisions. Your one night stand is actually telling you now that he is a descendant of the man you slept with, and is really a future cop looking for zombies, and he's got a gun. Then when he disappears and the gun disappears, you drive away. Because that is what any grown person would do. That's what any grown person would do. The few moments you see that she has had a real life outside of this, such as meeting an ex-boyfriend, she's completely composed. Just, look, you still got cassettes of mine? Well, I'll take them back to your mum's. Just talk to the hand. In this Tinder bait ghosting world, to have a character do this is just really, really, really refreshing and fun. Other incidents involves she gets shot. She's in shock about it, but understands the stakes of the situation. She shoots someone, saving Jack death. Again, in shock, but understanding the stakes of it. Is assertive about what she wants and is able to hotwire bikes. Also, very, very crucial in helping Jack find the people within the diaspora. And that's another thing I wanted to pick up on. It really does, in that time, show the breadth of culture of LA at that time. Yes, Lena has blue hair, then pink hair. 1 minute is a punk, next minute is having a kimono and making advances at a guy who's probably a bit too old for her. Yeah, is a bit too old for her. Incidentally, one of the bits that bugged me now is Richard Head, who, as we all know, is also quite a game comedian, plays the whole Jack, they just need you for one last job bit, is sent back in time to a small child. The joke being, I had to sneak out from my parents. Well, hang on. If you've got parents, then why weren't you just sent there? What is this? You're wasting our time with this moment. Although it does give us a cheap moment of wondering what happened to Phil Death, as Helen Hunt definitely gets filled in during Jack's disappearance. It really does cover the diaspora, though. You have the bodybuilders, you have the punk scene. It's a Christmas movie. You have a trance of Santa. That's setting you up from the beginning. It does cover pop culture. There is an element of Jack Death that is the reverse Captain America. The idea of Captain America being put forward in time to comment on the absurdities of today is just moved into Jack Death moving backwards in time to talk about the absurdities today in admittedly a way only a crotchety middle-aged man could. Hence, I'm doing a show about 80s films. There's a scene you can see behind me would have completely passed me by at 9. The idea of an LA that was flooded, Chinese theatre that was completely submerged, would have completely missed it. I would have missed that pathos. But I will say that each of the beats, he actually got actors in. Richard Head, Tim Thomerson, Helen Hunt. With the guy, even the guy who plays the Whistler, is able to bring a certain aplomb to it. It's not too camp, and it is a Kang story. In a sense, I do wonder why they felt the need to add the hologram evil master plan being revealed right at the beginning. And finally, Hap Ashby is gamely played. Everything falls into place, and I think showing a guy who was an American baseball star falling into the slums of alcoholism and destitution without really getting maudlin about it, and by the end getting his mojo back in a relatively plausible way. Yeah, totally worth a watch. I can't say much about the other 7 in the series. I've seen 5. I've seen 2 where the wife comes back, because of course his tragic backstory, Jada's tragic backstory is that Whistler killed his wife. Actually, his wife time traveled, so now he's got his wife and his girlfriend. That's kind of weird and fun. Jack of Swords, Trancers 5, where they travel through another dimension, where Trancers are basically a magical being. Yeah, that's good too. I haven't bothered with Trancers 6 because ultimately, that's at this point, even Tim Thomerson's gone. Talk to the clips because the face ain't listening. I suspect it had something along the lines of the famous Doug Bradley quote, why he turned down a Pinhead role. I looked at how much they were paying and it wasn't enough to buy a new fridge. But yeah, it's got a long second that lasts far longer than it should. It's got slight bad elements in terms of what is a trancer. No, I'm not giving up on the fact of, like, why is this child here? Why did you not just go down the line back to a parent? But physical effects, physical action, real low-level stuff where he tries to pick up a gun because he's forgotten that it's been in boiling water, really do count. I think it genuinely does count. And the runtime to do it in not even 80 minutes and still get a Mandroid reference in from Eliminators. Totally makes the film worth your time. 77 minutes. I mean, God, you've probably seen Valerian. Yeah, I would rather watch this twice in a row, back to back, than watch Valerian. Think about that. And I'll see you next time.